Hi, I'm Jess, and today I'm doing the series I won't finish video. I didn't realise how many series I have that I don't want to finish until I went to make this video, so there are quite a lot. So let's get started. The first one is Inherit the Stars. I've forgotten who it's by, but it's a book I absolutely hated. It was a science fiction book about a girl who ends up marrying somebody and from a different family to improve her family's stature or something, and I hated it. I didn't understand half of what was going on half of the time. It wasn't explained, there was no world building, and I just hated it, so I'm not going to continue on with this series, obviously. The next is The Fire Serpent, which is a book I kind of liked, but I didn't like enough and I wasn't intrigued enough to go on to the next book, which comes out soon. And I don't remember hardly any of The Fire Serpent. I just remember that I liked it, but it didn't blow me away. Next is the Unremembered series, and I loved Unremembered. It was one of my favourite books that year, and I just didn't continue for ages, and then I read Unforgotten and I just didn't care, and so I don't think I'll read the last one in this series just because I don't think I care at all. Next is Legend, and I read Legend and I just wasn't bothered. I thought it was okay, but I wasn't bothered by it. I just don't see what everybody else sees of it being like this great book. I just don't see it, and that's fine. But it means I'm not going to continue on with Prodigy and Champion, even though everyone says they get better. But I just don't want to, and I have no interest in the characters or the world, and I just don't think that genre is for me anymore. Next is Mind Games by Kiersten White. Again, I can't remember a lot of this. I remember I liked it, but I don't think it blew me away, and I don't remember a lot of it to continue on. And in order to continue on, and yes, it's only a duology, but in order to continue on, I think I'd have to reread Mind Games, and I have no interest in doing that, and so it's not going to happen. Next is Taken by Erin Bowman, and I didn't like this really. I had high expectations for it, and because the premise sounded really great, but it just didn't live up to those, and I don't know where it would go in a second or third book, and I don't want to continue with it to find out. Next is one I'm very passionate about that I don't like, and that's The Iron Trial. Everyone loved this, and I just didn't like it at all. It's not even because of the Harry Potter parallels, because I don't like Harry Potter. I wasn't like, oh, it's plagiarism, it's horrible. I just didn't like it at all, and I just thought it was all very cliche and not great. And I have the second book on my Kindle, but only because it was cheap, and I thought maybe, but I'm probably never going to read it. Like, it's there if I'm bored and it interests me that day, but I just don't think I'm going to finish it. Next is a weird one because it's a book series that I liked, and that's the Vampire Academy series. I read Vampire Academy and Frostbite, and I wanted to continue on Shadowkiss. I was really excited about going on to Shadowkiss, but I just left it too long, and now I think it's too late, and I don't really remember a lot of it, and I don't really attach to the characters, so I think reading the rest of the series, especially with it being such a long series, would just be pointless for me. Next is Monument 14. I read the first book, and it was good, but I don't want to continue. It's the same with all these. It was good, but it just was. There's a lot more series that I'd rather continue with than this one, and yeah, I just don't think this was for me. Next is The Archive, which is one, again, I really didn't like. I just thought it was just really bland, and it felt like something I'd read before. Just didn't like it very much, and yeah. So I'm not going to continue on with The Unbound. Plus, it's a series that isn't finished because the third book didn't get picked up, so I don't want to read The Unbound to then be left without a third book. So next is The Underland Chronicles by Suzanne Collins, and I read this, and it was what she published before The Hunger Games, and it's a middle grade, and because of that it wasn't for me. Like, it's not made for me. I gave the books to my little brother because they're not for me, they're for him. They're made for him. Yeah, I just didn't like it very much. I was looking for something by Suzanne Collins that wasn't The Hunger Games, and unfortunately I found that, but not what I wanted. Next is The Testing trilogy. I read The Testing, and it was a really good book, and I'm afraid that it's gonna turn into something that I've read before. Like, the dystopian genre is quite cliche, and I don't want to go on with a series that I think might just have the same cliches. This is The Giver, and this one's different because I loved The Giver, and I just think I won't continue because I am happy with The Giver. I'm happy with that one book, and I know the other books are like spin-offs set in the same world, but I'm not interested in them. I loved The Giver, and I think it was great as a standalone, and that's how I'm going to keep it in my head. And then there's If I Stay, which is again the same reason. I really liked it, and it's a standalone in my head. I don't need a book from Adam's perspective, and a lot of people say Adam's perspective is really annoying anyway, so it's just not something I want to read. Next is The Gallagher Girls, and again, like the rest of them, I just don't think I want to finish it. It was okay, I didn't have any extreme attachment to the characters, and yeah, I just don't want to read it. And then there's Maze Runner, and I was not happy with the ending of The Maze Runner. So I liked The Maze Runner and I liked The Scorched Trials, but I didn't like The Death Cure at all. And then I thought, oh well, there's The Kill Order, which is a prequel, so maybe I'll get some answers that I wanted in the prequel. But then I found out it's from different characters and does not give you any answers. So I'm just not gonna give this one a try because I wasn't satisfied with the ending, but I don't think this book will satisfy me anymore. So next I have the Sisters Red companion series by Jackson Pearce. I read Sisters Red. I do own the second book, which is a Hansel and Gretel retelling, but I think just not for me again. And I don't really like companion series, I'm finding. I don't think that they're great, apart from Anna and the French Kiss one. Next is Pivot Point by Casey West. I read the first book. Again, the second book is a companion, and I don't feel like reading it. Yeah, I'm not into companion novels. The Fifth Wave is next, and I liked this one, but I didn't get the hype. Everybody else was so excited about it and loved it, and I just didn't get it. And then there were really bad reviews of The Infinite Sea, and so I'm just not going to continue. I am going to watch the film of The Fifth Wave soon, but I'm not going to continue with the books, I don't think. Next is Across the Universe, and I read this probably when I just started BookTube, and it was so long ago now, and then I read whatever the second book's called straight afterwards, and then I left Shades of Earth for ages, and I did get it out from the library, and I started it, and I just never read it, and I don't really know why. I just never did, and now it's been too long, so I'm not going to read it. And next is one that I might get dissed for, and that's Harry Potter. I've said a million times I don't like Harry Potter. I got up to the Order of the Phoenix and just don't want to continue after that. Harry was just annoying me so much. And I prefer the movies, so I'm just going to keep liking the movies and not the books. And then lastly is Obsidian, and I liked this book a lot, but I don't want to continue, and I'm never going to continue with this, and yeah, I'm just okay with that. I liked the first book, but it was very Twilight-y, and I've not heard great things about the rest of the series, so I'm not going to continue. So that was the series I won't finish, and let me know any series that you won't finish down below. I will see you next time. Goodbye.